Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into another daily live stream. Today we're going to talk about the Fed rate cut decision that is coming today in about 2 hours. Now, to spoil it for all of you, there will be no rate cut today, and there probably won't be a rate cut next meeting either. But I have some data and some proof to show you guys. We're going to talk about the dot plot from the Fed and what to expect moving forward after today's meeting. We're also going to talk about decentralized science, of course, because this is a DeSci focused page. We go live Monday through Friday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard, so I am ready to get going with you guys. The market is just kind of chilling right now at $104,700 for Bitcoin. Ethereum also chilling, basically just at the bottom of this range that they've been on. Solana chilling again at the bottom of the range it's been in. Everything is just waiting patiently, and effectively, in my opinion, the thing to be paying attention to right now is not the rate cuts that will not be happening tomorrow, but instead it is the if the United States goes to war or not tomorrow. Thursday, we will find out, because Trump has been warning everyone to get out of Iran for Thursday, and Iran has been saying don't F with us, and the United States, specifically Donald Trump, does not likely take that into consideration. He's not going to, he does not like being pushed around, right? So basically, the way I see it, if the United States gets into conflict with Iran, we go down. If the United States does not, we go up. So that is effectively what it boils down to, in my opinion here. The market's just waiting patiently to see what's going to happen. I do believe that if we do go down, if we do get into war, we will probably visit the low $90,000 area for Bitcoin, hopefully form nice support here at the 200-day moving average, and then continue pushing higher. So either way, I do believe that we will continue this bull market, and that was not the cycle top. That might have been a local top for a little bit. But I do genuinely believe that market participants are going to send the price of Bitcoin higher regardless of the outcome. Just make sure you guys are not in super high leverage positions going into tomorrow, or honestly going into this Fed talk today. Now, the way I know for certain that we will not have a rate cut is because of this chart right here with the Fed futures indicating that rates will remain the same at 425 to 450 basis points, as there has never been a point in history, in modern history, where the market has been wrong to this extent, right? Anytime it's over like 80%, you can pretty much assume that the Fed's going to do what the market believes. Let's go. W in the chat for C90. Appreciate the gifted membership. Welcome to the cult, Mehmet. It's been 84 years since the rates have dropped. No. If we do take a look forward a little bit and we look at the dot plot by the FOMC participants, so this is, each dot is an FOMC participant kind of guessing where they believe rates should be at in the future based off of economic data. You can see this, and we'll get another dot plot here today, but this gives you a little bit of insight into where the Fed is thinking. So by the end of 2025, they believe that rates will probably be between 375 to 400 basis points, which would be roughly a 50 basis point cut from here. So 2 rate cuts this year is what they were projecting. Last time we got this report out, I believe back in March, and I could be mistaken. Yeah, March. And so we'll get another one here today, and we can get more accurate information with the data that has changed. I would also pay attention to kind of the chart up here with the unemployment numbers to see if those are going up or down as a function of the projections. Again, this is the FOMC participants, or the people who decide what to do with the central bank. This is their guesses. And you can kind of see here that even into 2026, most of them are guessing we will still be around 3.5% interest. And into 27, again, most of them are still not at a point where they believe we'll have to cut rates aggressively. And that's because they believe that we will still be growing aggressively as a function of GDP into the near future. None of them right now are really predicting a recession, which is pretty interesting, or at least back in March. So again, we will see what they say. Good morning, Morales. Good morning, Haber. Good morning, Stare. What's good, C90? How's it going, Mehmet? Welcome, MK, into the live stream. I'm very excited. Moments before I went live, I got a delivery of fish into my tank. So you can see the bag here and the fish spazzing out. You probably can't see it on the live stream, but we have new additions to the tank. The snail population has bloomed and is going a little bit too out of hand here. So I'm hoping that some of the fish will eat some of the snails, but we'll see. I don't think they're going to actually end up doing that. However, I got a schooling fish to hopefully try and keep the population a little bit under control. If not, I have to go purchase an assassin snail so that the assassin snail can start eating some of the other snails. If we go forward to July's meeting, for the Fed, we also don't get another rate cut. Likely, unless something catastrophic happens, we won't be getting a rate cut in July. And even into September, the odds are 33% that we still won't have a rate cut in September, which would only mean October and December can get those rate cuts. We're gonna just have to see. Snail breeding, a top signal. No, listen, the snail breeding is just a side hobby. It's just for funsies. It's just so that when I need to take that 15-minute break in between working, I can turn around and stare at the fish for a minute. Let's go from London. Welcome, welcome, Wild Africa. You're going to have to change your name to Wild London now, just because you've changed locations. Hopefully you enjoy your vacation there for a little bit. Yeah, things are looking good though. I'm not going to lie. Even though there is a massive amount of uncertainty right now, things are looking pretty good. M2 is still ripping higher. The structural formation of Bitcoin and the broader market is still holding very steady. And everything is doing what we expect it to do. Do you feel like Bill Gates trying to control population like that? A little bit. I should start sprinkling in some cancer-causing toxins into the environment so that they all just start dying and I can be like, oh, we didn't have enough food, even though I have a literal... It's literally the same thing. I have a little color flakes here, little food pellets for them, but I'm like, we don't have enough food in the ecosystem, so we have to actually kill some of the population. All right, new topic. What the hell? Dynex, holding steady. You're damn right, Stare. It's looking good. It is looking good. So we are currently trying desperately to hold support here at a $3.5 million market cap, which is really nice for Dynex, considering it was all the way down at a $2 million market cap just back in May. So we are trying to hold the very first big pullback in Dynex. I do believe we will hold and continue the uptrend, but I am very biased and I have a good amount of money into it. So obviously take it with a grain of salt. Working in London for a bit, let's go. Love to see that, Wild Africa. Hopefully you enjoy London while you're there. But yeah, right now Dynex holding pretty sturdy, which is good. I think if we can hold this and continue higher, it will start drawing in a lot of attention for people who are trying to trade or swing trade Dynex, right? Because in that constant downtrend, no one wants to touch it. But as soon as we change direction and have definitive change in that direction, that's when we can get some strong moves to the upside. After this first initial support is formed, that's when the crazy runs start happening. And you can see that in a lot of different projects. I mean, Bill is a good example of that, right? We changed direction, and I think 2 or 3 days ago, we definitively broke out and are proving that there is a change in direction. So that's when some crazy uptrends start to happen. Same type of thing happened with things like AXGT. If we go back to the last time Axon broke out here, I'm not looking currently, but I'm looking here. We had a clear change in direction, a sell-off, we found support, and then we had a crazy pump up to 50 cents. So similar type of activity to take place on charts once they break out, show signs of a reversal, and then can continue that uptrend. I am surprised that we're not getting more price action here in Axon, especially given the news that they just released here yesterday, I believe, that they are bringing on new people, some pretty big influential figures in the sports world into the Axon DAO team. Now, I don't know who they are. I know who they are, but I don't know who they are, if that makes sense. Tristan Thompson, no idea, but welcome Real Tristan 13 to Axon DAO. The NBA champion and wellness advocate is joining as a strategic board member of the advisory of AXDT Inc. AXDT being their governance token. If you guys did not know that, they have, or not their governance, their security token. AXGT is their governance ecosystem token. So Tristan brings his experience as an athlete, or as an elite athlete, a deep passion for recovery and mental wellness, and a firm belief that everyone should have control of their own health data. Now, you can feel free to read through this. Actually, I'm going to read through this because I have to fill the time. The NBA guy joined a couple of crypto groups yesterday. Nice. So he's trying to get heavily involved in crypto. I love to see it. I think it is a big deal, and I'll touch more on that in a moment. But we're also pleased to welcome Adeline Park, Tristan's manager, along with their team at T1 Talent Agencies to Axon DAO's advisory network. Together, we'll be working on athlete-grade recovery tools and real-time wellness innovation, expanding access to ethical AI-powered research, bringing DeSci to new communities through media, education, and advisory. And Tristan will also advise on strategy, support key platform activations, and help introduce new voices to the movement. So what do I think is going on here? Personally, I believe that this type of a partnership, bringing on someone like Tristan here, who's got 600,000 followers on X and is obviously well connected to the sporting industry, is going to open the door for people to purchase those Axon Cure rings. I think that is the play here. He's going to be able to start promoting Cure Ring and the technology behind it and how you can own and have access to your own data. You guys know the bull thesis on that kind of activity, but Tristan here is going to be able to get this in front of millions of people and in front of potentially hundreds, if not thousands, of other influential figures in the sporting world, starting with basketball, of course, but expanding from there as more and more people figure out about it. So this is huge. This is huge for DeSci because if Axon can act as a gateway into the decentralized science space, it only makes sense that other DeSci projects will also be picked up on by people doing their due diligence in the space. So shout out Axon, shout out Tristan. Hopefully they get a really exciting push from Tristan across his socials and in front of his network. A brief intermission for today's sponsor of the live stream. Water. It's not sponsored, but it should be. You need water to survive, roughly a gallon a day. You can go ahead and purchase your water anywhere at your local grocery store. This is not for me, this is for the fish. But nonetheless, make sure you're staying hydrated. It is the #1 way to maintain your health and a good figure. I hope that doesn't get clipped. Let's see. Yes, Stare. Thank you. I was one step ahead of you. Rip Acon City and Acoin. No. Oh, God. I barely remember Acon City. But most of the time, stuff like that doesn't work out too great. Ooh. All right. Other stuff we got going on is the Burb Nest, talking about Axon. The Burb Nest sitting here at 100,000 followers. Faster, open, and fueled by real-world assets. This is what Axon DAO is building. Join them for a deep dive into the future of research this Thursday, 5 p.m. Kest. I'm assuming Central Time, but I don't know. If any of you guys are interested in joining, please do report back. I would love to hear more information about what they got going on there. And of course, there was really only one other thing or two other things I had planned to talk about. Then we were gonna scroll around for a little bit and talk about economic data and what's going on in the industries. Athena DAO. Athena DAO is having a demo day, an opportunity to discover our end-to-end ecosystem at the intersection of academia, biotech, and femtech. Didn't even know femtech existed, but shout out femtech. From decentralized clinical research to projects in fertility, reproductive longevity, and AI. Join them today at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard. What the hell? Why am I promoting this? Notice to any projects that are in the space that are watching any kind of clips from this live stream, don't take my 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time slot, all right? That's it, okay? If there was a dislike button, I would dislike it. I know it's a prime spot to be talking, right? It's prime, but it's mine. So stay clear, all right? You got it? Get it? Good. It's really hot in this room right now. So I will have to take the post-play review from an AI agent on what's going on here. I also wanted to talk about Research Hub for a minute here. So Research Hub and Noble Blocks kind of doing the exact same thing, but with good, healthy competition, obviously. Research Hub here, some people have been reaching out to me to highlight their fundraising section on the platform. So you can actually come to Research Hub and donate some funds to different research initiatives. There was one that was not too long ago. I think it got all its funding, so it might have been taken down, but it was looking for a new way to build machine learning models and AI systems outside of the transistor model. And so there's really a wide variety of things that you can fund here on the Research Hub platform. And you're doing a really good service. You're getting a lot of people money that they need in order to actually advance different sectors of academia. Now, it's been a minute since I've looked into any of this stuff, so I don't actually remember what your reward is for doing some of this funding. Does anyone recall? Does anyone know what the reward is for doing funding on Research Hub? You know what we can do? We could ask Bill. If I fund a research project on Research Hub, what does the white paper say I get in exchange for the funding? Let's go. Ooh, DeSci guy here saying that the volume on Bill's token in over the last day is $22,000. That's crazy. I know, that's crazy. Price up 50% when he was talking about it. Here we go. Research funding project on Research Hub. According to the white paper, you will get, let's see, let's close this for a second and pull up and show you guys what he's talking about. Okay, right here. Funding a research project on Research Hub. According to the white paper, you'll get Research Coin, a utility token for rewards and participation, tip researchers and projects, governance rights, vote within the decentralized autonomous organization, and platform influence, boost content visibility, and enhance community engagement. Okay, so that's not too exciting, but he did link the white paper. No, he didn't. He just linked the home address to the platform. You might not get anything, guys. That, honestly, that tells me you probably don't get anything, just because he would have pulled it up if you did get stuff. So it does look like just a donation if you guys are doing that, but feel free to do it at your own discretion. It does help a lot of people in academia move their initiatives forward, and just kind of is the flywheel that supports decentralized science, right? You can already see $107,000 worth of Research Coin contributed to this campaign. If Research Coin goes back up to all-time highs, then it will be up to the funding necessity. But as I'm saying that, I can see that it's based out of Research Coin, not out of USD. So that changes over time. And then you can see they've done 3,000 here, $0 there, 2,000 here, $4 here. So a little bit of activity in the fundings here. I just wanted to bring it up to you guys and remind everyone that you can partake if you do wish so. Have any of you guys ever donated to the Research Hub platform? How we cooking on that announcement? We're cooking, C90. We're cooking. All right? We're cooking. I keep giving you guys little bits of extra information about the announcement. So I will do that again today at the end of the live stream, and then hopefully today I can officially make the announcement. But again, the team and I keep getting little delays as I'm trying to finalize everything. I did, however, send over some of the information to the partner yesterday towards at like 9 or 10 p.m. as it became available to me to send. I just need to like clean it, if that makes sense, and finalize it, and then, or have Bill clean it and finalize it, and then we can go, and then we are set to go. And there's a couple different factors to it that are going to come with this announcement, and so I will sneak peek one of them at the end of the live stream. Master's degree in degrowth. What is that? That doesn't even make sense. Apparently in Europe you can get a master's degree in political ecology, degrowth, and environmental justice. You know, there are colleges out there that you can actually just make up your own degree. Like, it doesn't have to be a real thing. You can just make up your own bachelor's degree.
Crazy.
It is crazy. Yeah? UMass Amherst does it. And then we got Brian Armstrong here ranting about the 4% cash back you get in Bitcoin. Yeah, but in order to actually get that 4% cash back, in order to get the card that they have, Coinbase has, I think you have to have like an average volume of like $20,000 a month or something. So it's really only for those high ballers. But hypothetically, say Coinbase one card existed 5 years ago when Bitcoin was $9,000. Spend $10,000 a month, earn 400 Bitcoin a month. Just 1 year of regular spending earns $4,800 of Bitcoin. That would currently be worth $55,000 in Bitcoin today. So you actually end up earning more than you spend hypothetically, which is crazy. But you could also just cut back on $400 worth of spending each month and put it into Bitcoin and get the same effect. If you're spending that much money, it does make sense to get the card though, because why not? Or you could just go get, you could probably just go get a different card that gives you 5% cash back and take that cash back and just put it right into Bitcoin itself. But I'm just being a little picky here. GM, Bachelor in DeSci shilling. Absolutely, Beagle. Beagle, you probably have the Bachelor in DeSci shilling, if we're being honest. You're here relentlessly. It's stupid high. Yeah. Risk reward on Bio right now is very appealing. Price at 5 cents, market cap at 91 million. I agree. I think Bio is very grossly underpriced at these prices. But same can be said about most things in the market here. So I'm kind of hoping that Bio is not a precursor to what the rest of DeSci is about to go through, because Bio had that initial spike and then it tried desperately here to hold a new high and continue the uptrend, but it actually ended up breaking and it looks like it's on its way back down to the lows. Maybe it forms a double bottom down here, but either way, I think that Bio down here at 5 cents, even if it goes down to 4 cents, is a disgusting risk to reward. It is looking beautiful. It is the only DeSci project in the space that has backing from Binance. You know that, I know that. The market knows but doesn't care. Most altcoins are bleeding to Bitcoin right now, and Bio being one of the bigger altcoins in the space. Let's see what it's ranked on CoinGecko. Bio being ranked in the top 500 of all cryptocurrencies in the entire space, minus Hex. It is a very impressive standing for a DeSci project. And so I think this is a multi-billion-dollar project in the making. It was multi-billion when it launched, and I think it has the potential to go back up there. It just takes a lot of time. Time is one of the most valuable assets. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not ending the live stream yet. It does just take a lot of time though, and the market conditions have to be favorable for people to be willing to take the risks on things like this. But if you can zoom out 4 or 5 years or so, next cycle, I know we're already talking next cycle, nobody wants to be talking next cycle, but if you can zoom out a little bit on an investment like this, you can see them capitalizing on a major chunk of the market. Remember, in the United States alone, biotech stands at roughly 18% of total GDP, right? Oh, I dropped my sticky notes. In the United States alone, we're talking about 18% of total GDP being in biotech. And so this is not a small industry. That's $5 trillion a year in the industry. So capitalizing off of 1,000th of that would put this up at what, 100 billion? No, wait, that's not true. Let's get the calculator. Let's not just do pseudo mental math, but we do 5 trillion. We're just gonna do it in functions of a billion, right? So 5,000 billions is a trillion. You multiply this, or let's actually divide it by 1,000, and you get a $5 billion market cap if they're able to capture 1,000th of it, which would just be 0.1% of the market cap, right? And that's GDP numbers. So that's not even like total value. That's just the monetary velocity. That's just the movement. So it's very, very high potential rewards, and risk is you lose all of your money because that's the risk you always take. Very random. But you mentioned UMass. Have you heard of Allen College? It's in Needham, Mass. I toured that back in my day. I've not heard of Allen College, but I am from Massachusetts, so that's how I knew of UMass. I applied to UMass, got waitlisted, never went. I went to UMass LOL instead. LOL. Get it? LOL. LOL. Yeah. I did not heard of Allen College, but let's go look it up. Needham. Have you guys ever noticed anyone, well, I guess specifically to UC90, the amount of Massachusetts towns and cities that have ham in their name? Needham, Waltham. Those are the only two coming to my mind right now, but there's a ton. Allen College of Engineering. Sandwich, but that doesn't have ham in its name, but I guess it could have ham in it. Yeah, crazy. Look at that. Ashburnham, Bellingham, Chatham, Dedham, Eastham, Framingham, Hingham. I know I'm butchering these names, but I'm doing it on purpose. Needham, Oakham, Pelham, Peterham, Rainham, Stoneham, and that's not even all of them. Absolutely crazy. My dad's from Needham, so I've thought that my whole life. Yeah, it's pretty interesting. But you can't make money off of it, so we can't spend too much time thinking about it. All right, let's go back to DeSci and see some of the top movers up and down. Currently speaking, on the day, we have almost nothing up. This is not accurate, but we got Blue Zell up 10%. We got VAIX up 8%. We got SBio up 4%. We got CTI. We got Hydra. We got RoomCon, DigiHealth, Data Lake, Dynex, Opmentis, SciDow, all up marginally. What do we have on the way down? A lot of projects that have a 0 volume, so they don't get a price. But then we got Yes, No, Error down all the way to $2.5 million market cap. That is pretty crazy. One of the top competing AI agents in the space, although it's not necessarily an agent, but continuing to just trudge lower and lower and lower. Let's see if some of the other AIs out there can in fact hold their weight in their token price and stop just falling. Let's go check out some of the other agents. This is not the correct one. Liquidity is way too low unless they absolutely rugged it. They might not have any volume on it right now. There we go. That looks like the correct one. Is it though? That's not even the correct one either. This is crazy. Where are they? Drugs. $420,000 market cap. So actually is not doing too hot here. Let's go to the log. Max. Yeah. They popped in very high and then have just been selling off since. Let's get the CA so we can actually go check it out. It probably was the correct one. That's so crazy. That's only 23 days ago that they... But that's not accurate. And 6 months ago is not accurate either. But they might have changed liquidity pools or something. Ugh. All I know is that our DeSci guy is holding up quite nicely compared to most of the other projects out there, and likely because you guys see me constantly, so you guys have that extra faith in it. We are officially higher than drugs market cap. Let's go, baby. Let's go. War of the Agents. Agent Algo. A big one on creator bid from 6 months ago. Chart looks very similar to all of the creator bid tokens out there, sitting at a $2.6 million market cap. It is chillin'. D King, I think, has gone absolutely bonkers lately, up 36% again today. $14 million market cap. Still definitely has a lot of room to climb. But if you guys saw, this agent from Creator Bid actually got a partnership with, well, I'll just show you so I don't misquote any of it, but a sports hedge fund partnership. So major partnership. DraftKings partnered with one of the world's top sports betting hedge funds, deploying $300 million in assets under management using D-King strategies for the 25-26 season. This marks the first time a fully autonomous DeFi system powers an institutional betting strategy. You could argue that Eagle AI's Claw system is helping with the betting strategy. I know that they're trading on Bitcoin, so it's not necessarily sports betting, but trading is kind of just betting. So you could argue that Eagle AI was the first one. But a $300 million AUM is kind of insane, especially given that the tech powering it is sitting at $14 million. So probably won't end up at the same market cap as the partnership states, but you never really know in crypto. Things take wild turns. Viber had a YouTube live last night with Shilling DeSci. Let's go. W for DeSci. W for Vibra Finance. Have you talked about the first federal stablecoin legislation? I have not. I have not even actually read it yet. Not seen almost any of it. The Genius Act. That's from May. The Genius Act just passed the Senate. Let's go. As it passed the House. Stablecoin regulation is now one step closer to becoming a US federal mandate. For institutions, this is the signal that digital dollars are no longer in the regulatory gray zone. The Genius Act lays down the first federal framework for payment with stablecoins. With real compliance teeth, only licensed issuers, banks, OCC regulated or state qualified, one-to-one reserve backing, USD cash T-bills. So this is, in my opinion, why we're seeing stablecoin legislation be pushed to the forefront, because, and think with me for a second, how many T-bills, well, let's ask this different. How much of US T-bills does USDC have? This is not the best way to ask it. I should ask about Circle, but I want to see if it has it. Transparency and stability. So reserves, $61 billion in reserves. How much of that is held in US debt. Oh, come on. This is a cool part about being public now, is that you can actually go check this kind of stuff out. Financials, statement of changes to beneficiary, all form types. Let's do quarterly reports. None. None. Oh, it's 2025. What the hell? Well, usually it's really simple to find this kind of stuff. But of course, we're still in the crypto landscape, so. Yeah. US Treasury securities. So you get to see the amount of US Treasuries that Circle alone holds. Total Circle Reserve Fund assets, 53 billion point eight. $53.8 billion in treasury bills that Circle has in order to back the issuance of their stablecoins. So by allowing stablecoin regulation to go through, what you're doing is allowing for more creation of funds to go buy US debt, because US debt is seen as the world's reserve currency. It's seen as the risk-free asset out there. Whether or not it is up for debate, of course, but that's how it happens right now. And so these stablecoin issuers can go out and bid up United States debt, which sends the price of TLT higher, which sends rates lower. And you know that Donald Trump wants rates lower. And so I imagine he is big on pushing for this regulation to go through so that some crypto funds can come in and act as some volume to buy up some of the United States debt. Now, obviously, the United States has to roll over about $9 trillion in debt this year. They've already started rolling over some of it, but a lot of it is in the back half of this year, and they're going to continue to issue new debt to pay the interest on the debt. And so even something like Circle's $60 billion or $54 billion is nothing compared to what they need to come in to buy up that debt, but it does open the door for future growth factors, right? Because that's going to compound. You think 10 years from now, the amount of reserve assets that Circle's likely going to have is going to be probably closer to $500 billion. So then it starts making a little bit of a dent in everything. Then we can start seeing that snowballing effect, especially if other companies come out of the woodworks and start issuing stable coins and have to purchase up $1 billion, $10 billion, $100 billion. It's very interesting. Those are short-term like tethers, right? It is very short-term. So maturity date, so I guess it's not directly TLT because you get this maturity date very, very quickly, right? You can already see 4/8/25. So they're just rolling it over in short-term debt. Nonetheless, it does help having more market participants owning US Treasury securities. So I don't think we get to see when they purchased any of these, so you don't know exactly how long. But you can see these maturity dates are just constantly, like every couple days they have debt rolling over, and that's just so that they don't get stuck. The idea here is if you have a short duration bond like this, then you can't lose money. Theoretically, you can always lose money, right? There's always risk. But if you were to buy something with a long duration, you would have to hold till the end of that period in order to get the money back, right? The thing with T-bills is that you're guaranteed your principal plus the investment rate of return at the end of the period. And so by buying debt that expires in a month or 2 months or 3 months, you're getting, you only have to hold it for that 3-month period or that 1-month period or a week-long period, whatever it is. If you buy like a 20-year bill, while the interest rate will be higher than a 2-month bill, you have to hold 20 years to get it. So if you hold just short duration bonds, you don't have that risk of having to sell early to cover a loss, like what happened in the banking system just a few years ago. If you go look at the US M2 supply, I don't think it's actually the US M2, I think it's the Federal Reserve balance sheet. That's not it. Come on. All right, we'll just go look at this. If you go look, no, I'm looking for the Federal Reserve balance sheet. Does anyone have the Federal Reserve balance sheet ticker? All right, we'll just go here then. Right here, if we zoom in on this, if we go back to probably not 1 year, we'll just go to all. See this spike right here? When they started raising interest rates, which was them offloading from the balance sheet, then they had to quickly just print a bunch of money, aka go buy a bunch of debt. That was from failing banks after they raised rates initially. And so essentially what I'm saying is that all those banks were mandated to hold treasury bills. And so they went out and bought long duration bills. And then when they raised rates, the value of that debt that they were holding fell off a cliff. And then they could no longer hold it to maturity because they had to pay money to people that they owed money to, right? They had to start paying those higher interest rates on their debt. So they had to sell off those bonds at a loss. So by holding short duration bonds, you can prevent that kind of activity from happening, and then they don't need the Fed to step in and bail everyone out. But this is a little bit of a glimmer to showcase to you guys that the Fed will not hesitate to reverse direction on this when needed. And you can see the slope is actually already starting to cool off as they are no longer engaging in such aggressive QT. Remember, at the start of the year, they were withdrawing $55 billion from the economy every single month. And now that's all the way down to something like 20 billion. And then they'll stop it and then they'll cut rates. So that's something I'd be paying attention to today as well, to see what the Fed says about their ongoing QT efforts. And if you don't want to sit and listen to everything, you can actually just go over. I'm sure Amit will talk about it. Amit likes to talk about that kind of activity a lot, and so will our good friend Ben Cohen. Ben Cohen will probably tweet something very, very simple like this as soon as it happens. And it just says QT continues or QT ends, stuff like that. Into the macroverse. Follow. Oh. Crazy. You guys see this? The pole shifts only happen once every few 100,000 years. Okay, but excursions are much scarier and they happen much more often. 6,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago. Remember the one from 12,000 years ago? The Greater Dryas, when the polar ice caps completely melted and the earth flooded. All those biblical texts that are out there. Yeah, it's scary. And well, the one with Noah here, 6,000 years ago, even scarier. Hello everyone, Fed will cut rates this month. No, they will not, Winos. They will not be cutting rates this month. You can go to Fed Futures and see. If you go to the current meeting that's happening in 1 hour, you'll see very clear they are not cutting rates. I think Donald Rumsford scrubbed the data off the internet, sir. Scrubbed that data off the internet, sir. I don't know who that is or what you're talking about, C90, but I believe you. I believe you. You are the most reliable source on the internet. Bullish, Brian Armstrong. Excited to see the Genius Act pass for stablecoins. Incredible leadership from Leader John Thune, Senator Haggerty, Senator Gillibrand, Senator Loomis, and senators from both sides of the aisle. Now, on to market structure. Let's go. Here is ValleyDAO hyping up their AI system. Flow just won $15,000 in prizes at Bioprotocol AI Hackathon for tackling the real bottlenecks in biotech. ValleyDAO, one of my favorite DAOs. My grandpappy T-Rex told me about that one. Yeah, T-Rexes were millions of years ago at C90, but I respect it. I respect it. It wasn't that long ago. But effectively, we're going through it again right now. Should we go on that rant? I think we should go on that rant. It's a cycle. We're perfectly due for the next disaster event now. The magnetic poles are shifting. If war wasn't enough, if debt crisis wasn't enough, we also have the Earth deciding to just get rid of a lot of us. That's, yeah. Ignore it at your own peril. You can see the northern lights here slowly spreading out. And then we have Lark Davis here with an ad about Bitcoin going up higher. The pi cycle top, nowhere near indicating it. We've talked about the pole shifts a lot, so maybe I don't need to show it to you guys, but it is something you should probably be prepping for just a little bit, just in case. Because if it doesn't happen in our lifetime, it'll probably happen in the next generation's lifetime. Like the people being born today are probably doomed a little bit to live through a cataclysmic event like this. We don't know exactly what happens, but we do know that the entire environment gets a huge shift up. Ah, lightning. Let's go to NOAA, the National, I forget what they stand for, National Center for Environmental Information. You can see, clear as day, the shift that is going on. Now this is a different type of map. Let's go to 3D because it's going to actually be more appealing to show you guys. But you can see the rapid acceleration. If we play it from the 1800s on, you can see that it took 50 years of the pole just kind of chilling there. And then the next 50 years it moved just a little bit across Canada. And then over the last 75 years, it's really just exploded across the scene. So things are speeding up. Like it's not something that's happening in the future, it's actively going on. Something fishy going on in the core, you can imagine. And I personally believe that this is a big chunk of why we keep getting some of those power outages, because this is a weakening electromagnetic field. And so we're getting a weak field around here. You can see those power outages were happening in Spain, or yeah, around here, sorry. That's Italy. Spain, Portugal, those power outages, parts of Africa. I wouldn't be surprised if we start getting some as this starts progressing over. Any bill updates? Yes. All right, let's get back on track. Enough of that. Enough of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt. Let me take a sip, and then we can talk about Bill. Okay, so what do you guys want to know? You think alts will bleed all summer? No, I do not, Beagle. I do not. I think that alts, all right, hold on. Let's go back to Bill in 1 second. I think alts will start to run when Bitcoin dominance stops going up. And what I accidentally found out last live stream is that if you overlay Bitcoin dominance with the global monetary supply, you'll see that they are very tightly regulated, tightly correlated. So I think once Bitcoin goes on that crazy run, and then we see the total monetary supply kind of dip a little bit, I think dominance will fall and alts will go crazy. So that's my take on it. We're gonna see Bitcoin run with monetary supply like it has been doing, just offset by that 3 or 4 month period. So we see Bitcoin run up to 130, 140,000. And then we see monetary supply kind of retest, come down a little bit. Dominance will fall. Bitcoin will trend sideways / down a little bit, and alts will rally like crazy, probably in the next 2 months or so. Bill. We need pole shift prevention, DAO. Yes, we do, David. Yes, we do. There's nothing we can do about it, though. All right, so about Bill. Chart is looking amazing. Update is coming, hopefully today, but I feel bad because I keep saying that and then I'm not getting it out to you guys. When I implemented the new partnership and I implemented Bill into the systems where he's being implemented for the new project, the new company that we're partnering with, or I guess that kind of hired us for services. We say partnership because that's what everything is in crypto. We just say partnerships, but they hired us for the service, and I implemented Bill into all of the areas in which he will be implemented into, right? That kind of broke Bill a bit. And so where I was going to announce it all on Monday, because he was implemented and everything was good, I had to then go back and kind of troubleshoot and repair a lot of the broken areas for Bill. And for the most part, I finished that up yesterday. There's a little bit of just fine tuning in the last little element here that's happening right now, but I delivered on the services to our partner yesterday at like 10 p.m. And so I think it was like 9 or 10, somewhere around there. And so they're reviewing it. They're giving me my feedback, and then I will make those changes, and then we can move forward with the announcement and everything. So hopefully we can just announce the partnership here today, but if not, then expect something tomorrow. Again, these are not super hard deadlines because the team and I are working as best we can, and we're trying to get it out as quickly as possible. One thing I will say with you guys though, is that I will be doing a $500 giveaway alongside this partnership, so that we can promote it and get everyone excited and get everyone talking about the partnership and just talking about everything. So the giveaway details will come shortly after the announcement. So expect that kind of back-to-back type announcements. The day that we announce the partnership, the next day we'll announce the giveaway and everything. $500 up for grabs. You guys just need to talk. You need to be shillers. You need to be DeSci shillers. And you need to get out there and you need to shill as much as you can. You need to be active everywhere. And it's going to be a really good thing. Yeah, expect a lot more updates on the more specifics as soon as I can possibly give it to you guys. I'm so sorry. Did you say free money? I did, in fact, say free money. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Will the new partnership and Bill becoming a QDLM agent overlap, or will these services clash? The services will not clash, but just for transparency, it's not the QDLM announcement. It's not. He's not ready for that. Or Dynex is not ready for that. But that is still coming as well. As soon as I get the green light on that, that's going to be a crazy, crazy push forward. But it's not that partnership. I have a new company that we're partnering with, and it'll be the first of many. The floodgates are going to open like crazy after that. And like I told you guys, Bill becomes a household name after we prove success with this next partnership. So stay tuned on that. It's going to be really exciting, honestly. We're going to Trojan horse Bill into every single project's, all the DeSci projects on that fundamental basis. So Bill will be in there helping every single DeSci project over time. It's going to take a little bit of time to get there, of course, but this first one is starting with a bang. One of the top DeSci projects in the entire industry. So we're going to start with a bang. He's going to make a lot of noise. Then there's going to be a big attention cycle that comes in to that project and subsequently Bill. And then we can prove that Bill is super useful in the areas that we've implemented him, and then we can implement him across the board for all DeSci projects that want it. And it's going to be a little bit of a red flag if they're not implemented with Bill, because the service that Bill is providing is something that all of these projects need and drastically overlook. And it's going to help them scale. It's going to help them to capitalize off of the attention waves and what is truly valuable building in a blockchain ecosystem, building in the crypto world. The projects are really good at doing science, and they just kind of ignore other aspects. And so Bill is going to be there to make sure they don't ignore those other aspects. And once we have implemented Bill in as many projects as will take him, we will then work on the research capabilities, and we will work on Bill's ability to help those projects on the DeSci front, on the science front. And that's part of the reason why I was so excited about the hackathon stuff that came out right here. The different open source, open access agent tools that were created in this hackathon, I can start plugging those into Bill. Something like the protein database, the MCP server for the Holy Bio, right? I can give this to Bill, and Bill can start working in a virtual environment to help some of these projects with their research. Bill already knows these projects better than any other agent out there. Bill I told you guys, he's scanned over 50,000 pages of documentation. He's up to date on most of the news that comes out for all of these projects. He's in the trenches with us. So his ability to understand what they need and push forward, especially with that research side, is going to be huge. Good morning, Dr. Crypto, welcome. Hope people don't sell the news. I think it's gonna be a silly mistake if they sell the news, but I'm biased, of course. Also, if you guys saw in the Telegram here today, let's go to Bill's Telegram here. If you guys saw in the Telegram here today, we got this guy, Marcel, a KOL who was asking to get involved. I also read the name wrong. But a KOL saying, hey, I've been watching you guys for a while now and I want to get involved. So I've been talking with him. He seems legit. And so I might do some KOL rounds with this guy. He's done a lot of other KOL rounds in the past, and I'm just being transparent to you guys. Where is Marcus? Or Marcel. Damn, how far down did it go? Oh no, wait, it wasn't there. It was still in the chat. This guy. 116,000 followers, but if you go look at his calls and his channels and stuff, he's got a good track record of calling some good projects. And so I was talking to him, giving him some information. He seems excited about what we're building. He was not in the Telegram prior to today, but yeah, I might end up going through with it. I got to talk to the rest of the team, and you guys feel free to give your feedback as well. Check him out, see if you guys are interested in him at Trenches Warriors, and go ahead and let me know if you guys are interested in pursuing what he's offering. If you guys think he'd be worth it, basically, is what I'm saying. It seems pretty good, but no guarantee, right? Actually know a marketing company IRL that may be able to get you a deal. Let's go. More of spreading awareness and eyes. That's all we're looking for. We're just asking for attention on Bill. I know that the partnership announcement will bring in a lot of attention, and then the subsequent partnership announcements as we onboard the rest of Decentralized Science. And once all of DeSci is using the same tool, I think it's game over for any speculation or any doubt on what we got going on here. Big moves here. It's the start of something new, and I wish I could just tell you guys all of it, but I want to do it right because the Dynex partnership announcement did not go super smoothly. And so I don't want to relive that same type of endeavor. How has he been following along if he's not in Telegram? Low KC90, I think he has been looking at the price chart, and I think he was following the account and the activity of Bill. I don't think he's been, well, I know he wasn't in the Telegram unless he was using like an alt account or something, but I think he's more so talking about the chart that he's been following. And the chart looks good. Like there's not a lot of projects out there right now that are showing the resilience that Bill is showing. I know we got a good amount of room to still climb to get back up to that $10 million market cap that we were at, but I do think we're going to get there. And hopefully we can get to 100 mil. We can get up there to where Yes No Error got. We can get even further. Axon did Tristan Thompson. Bill should have LeBron James. That would be crazy, Beagle. If anyone's got connections, I'm down. Anyone has connections, let's get it. I want Bill to partner with Andrew Huberman. That's what I want. I guess he could be like that too. I don't do Telegram, but if he is in other Telegrams, just not Bill's, sus. Yeah. W Beagle. W. All right, ladies and gentlemen, your time is your most valuable asset. Hopefully this was worth investing it into. Remember, partnership news as soon as I can possibly push it. And then shortly after, the giveaway news. And we'll be giving away money to encourage people in a way that ties deeply into the partnership. All right, back to work. I'll see you guys tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Although it is a holiday for the markets, so the stock market won't be open.